Ah, fantastic. It's a nice, beautiful day. Survived the earthquake last night. It's
Oh my goodness. Did you feel it?
Oh, I felt it. Did it wake you up?
No.
No.
Well, there was whiskey involved, so no.
As any good story begins. How's your morning
Oh,
going
I'm
so
kind of
far?
glad. So far, so good. It's been a good morning. But I've been watching the news and seeing that, what was it, 4.5?
I think it was 4.2. It started off with a little jolt, and then there was like a little rolling action with it for the afterwards. So maybe when you throw in the whiskey, maybe a little bit of tequila in there, that rolling action, and just rock you back to sleep.
It just had me walk straight down the hallway is what it did.
Oh man, so exciting times right now. Night Court is officially out. We've now had 2 weeks of it. Um, I gotta ask, what'd you do for the premiere? Did you watch it by yourself? Did you have people with you? How'd you enjoy it?
So the beautiful thing about being now on the West Coast is that I was able to watch it with my East Coast friends. We did a watch party. And then it was about 6 o'clock when we got done. I took a moment to kind of gather myself. And then I went over to a friend's house in Studio City, and we had cocktails and champagne and watched the other two episodes. So it was like I watched it twice that day.
Beautiful. Now, this is
Yeah.
a show that, I mean, anytime you're involved with the project, it's a long time coming, but this really a long, long time coming. You guys had several different stumbles in the road. Can you talk to me about that story of how you guys got this pilot from concept when you first started shooting the pilot? So I think you had to shoot the pilot a second time. Is that correct?
We shot bits and pieces of the pilot a couple of times because we wanted to get it right. This is your first time seeing the majority of these characters, so we wanted to make sure that you had a great introduction to each individual one. But as far as like the getting from paper to pitching to shooting, I can't really talk about that. Melissa has a great story about it, because they basically pitched all of this over the pandemic. So, over the course of all of that, she had a child, as well as deciding to be an actual part of it because she was just going to produce in the beginning. So, where I came in, it was over the pandemic, it was like that last year. So what is that, 2021? The beautiful thing was I got to do everything at home. So I didn't have the anxiety of going down into the city to audition for it. Um, I had all of my creature comforts around so that I didn't feel so, gosh, I mean, auditions you're just exposed. You're so vulnerable. So to do it on my own turf was actually, it took a lot of the pressure off so that I could really create and give over to the character.
Now, when you're in the process of doing an audition for a series like this, where you're going to be a major part, you're one of those uh, definitive characters that are just always connected to this program. Was there any more pressure for something like that versus things you've done in the past, where you now know you're going to be part of that core group of people that are attached with this show?
I think I didn't allow myself to think about it that way. I just wanted to give a good performance, and I just wanted to show and highlight like how weird, how weird the character is. I think now that's why I had so much anxiety when we were gearing up for January 17th for the premiere. Is then I really that's when it kind of set in, and I had a few moments of panic and terror here and there over the course of shooting everything, but I never felt like this is too much. I never felt like it was too much. There was one moment where I was like, how did this happen? And why is it me? And should I really be here? But it never was like, oh, but you can't do this. I knew that I could always do this.
Melissa's one of the people in the industry that over the last decade has really just solidified herself as one of the heads of comedy and heads of sitcom. Can you talk about what you were able to learn from being on set with someone like her that has so much experience in this genre of TV, and just having someone that is so knowledgeable like that at that forefront of a project like this?
Melissa is the most amazing leader, the most amazing boss that I've ever had in my entire career. And I've told her this. Um, I never, there were times when I didn't feel seen and I didn't feel heard. And I didn't really feel like I was a part of the project. But this from day one, she called me when they had to my agent had to tell me first, and she was kind of like about it because she wanted to be the one to give me the news, but she knew that there was protocol. But still, I mean, she's just been so kind. She is so level-headed and calming, but at the same time, like, she keeps everything running smoothly because, you know, that we got to get things done at a certain time and in a certain way. But I never felt like she was cracking the whip over us, or I've never seen her grumpy. I know that she had a back injury. She fell off the couch once and she just got right back up, and they kept shooting. And, you know, having that kind of person at the helm just, it makes you happy to come to work every day. And even though these hours are long, towards the end of the week, the hours are long, and you're tired and you come back in the next week, you look forward to coming because you want to see your show family. You want to see everybody.
All right, let's take it way back to the beginning of the story. How did you first get involved with acting? When did you know you wanted to be pursuing this field? And what was it about this world of make believe that we all live in that first started drawing you into it?
Well, I was an only child. I grew up an only child, and I was talking about this on stream yesterday. I have an amazing imagination. I'm a Pisces. I'm a dreamer. So I've always played make believe. I love sci-fi fantasy. I can really fall into a book. And I thought that I wanted to be a playwright. And so I was a part of the Playwrights Roundtable in Kansas City, Missouri, and we would read each other's plays so that we could critique them. And the facilitator was like, "Wow, LACRETTA, you should really audition for the Coterie Theater, which is a children's theater there." And I was like, "No, I'm going to be a playwright. What do you mean?" And he was like, "You should really audition." And so I did, and I started getting paid to act at the age of 14. And what I loved about them is that the sets were so immersive, and you've got the children are with you, and acting for children is not easy. You really have to be honest for them or they won't believe you, and they won't come on that journey with you. I think everyone should have to act for kids. And then I went from there. I went off to grad school. I thought I was going to go for journalism. I thought I was going to go, I wanted to be a brain surgeon. And then they told me that you had to cut on cadavers. And I was like, okay, bye-bye. And then slowly and surely, you know, I found my way, and I thought that I was going to be an opera singer, and I auditioned for apprenticeship programs. And the universe, the powers that be, my higher power, always had a plan. And even though I thought I knew what I was doing and was preparing myself by going to grad school for that, I always there was just something greater than me, and that's how I ended up here. Because had you told me that this was what I was going to be doing with my life, I wouldn't have believed you. I'd still be trying to write plays.
Well, and unlike any other career, well, most careers anyway, this is one of those where it's not steady sailing as soon as you get to 23, 24, and you sign into work wherever and you're good for staying there as long as you want to. This is something where, yeah, you're going through the hunt of looking for a job, and yeah, you get a great one, and then eventually you got to find another one, whether it's 10 years later, whether it's 10 months later. Can you talk about the ups and downs of being involved in a business like this and how it feels now to be on one of those highs of this business?
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh man, there have been some lows. There have been some times where it was just all, what is it? All red on one side of my deposit on the screen. I've definitely been in the negative a few times. There were times where ramen noodles was my best friend. That's all I could afford to buy. Applesauce was a treat. But for as much bad and as many no's as I've heard, the amount of yeses, of course, is way less than that. But the yeses that I got were amazing yeses. And that's all I can say for people to do. If you have the heart for it, and if you have the means to do so, hang in there. Just stay for as long as you can, because you are going to hear an amazing yes. And sometimes that's all it takes.
Is that one yes to just verify
That
for you
one
that
good
this
yes.
is,
Yeah.
yeah. My goodness. All right. So Nut Court out now, everybody. If you haven't seen it yet, go and check it out. We're a couple of weeks into it now. And that first night,
Yeah.
what was exciting is that we had that first pilot episode, and then you just got a little bit more. I mean, it's just,
Mhm.
can you talk to me about just the exhale of it finally being out in the world and no longer having to wait?
Yeah, we spent so much time shooting it, and then it was, can we get a date? Can we get a date? When's the date? When's the date? And then they finally told us, and I was like, oh, okay, well, we got plenty of time before that happens. And then once the date started approaching, I kind of like dug my heels in and was like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. but getting to watch my friends watch the show was such a relief. And the things that they commented on and the things that they saw, like what I love about our show is that it has replayability. You can watch it one time, you see everything in the foreground, and you might catch something back there, but then you watch it again and then you catch somebody in the gallery, or you catch a look between characters who are in the background, and you can always find something new. I love that. So seeing them enjoy and comment and look at me, and we share that moment, that was such a relief, because I know I loved our show and I'm biased because I'm in the show. So it was nice to hear that other people felt the same way about it.
I'm saying I love these figurines that you have behind you. What do you have going on back there? And what is that? What are those all about?
So this character is Lavora Verona. This was what I made my Broadway debut in Disaster. I
Really?
was in Book of Mormon for 2.5 years. And so for Secret Santa, this was one of the Secret Santa gifts that I gave to my elf. So I had to make one for myself because my name is not on a lot of stuff. This is my departed mother. That's my mommy.
Mm.
That's my cousin. This is my mother and I when I was little. That's all my fancy schmancy perfumes, another baby picture. And then down on the bottom, I've got Rosa Parks, Ella Fitzgerald, and Uhura from Star Trek. Those are my fancy Barbies that I have.
And I think this is just one of my favorite things about doing interviews over Zoom versus, not in person, is that you get to have so much of your story and so much of who makes you you behind you right
Mhm.
there backing you up while we do these interviews. And as
Yeah.
much as I would love to be sitting next to you right now, LACRETTA, I do love the fact that you also get to have this experience and in a way share this with a full picture of who you are with who you have around you right now. Can you talk
Yeah.
about just the influences of everything that's in your past and everything that you have behind you and what has made you you to now be in this moment right now in your life where this is the culmination of so many things that have made you LACRETTA?
Yeah, I mean that's 30 years of blood, sweat, and tears. Unfortunately my mom died in 2011, but she instilled in me so much. Have a good work ethic. You never know who's watching you. You never know who someone is. So always be nice, always be kind, work hard. I was reluctant to really go into the arts because she was such a practical woman, but she was artistic as well. Both my parents are. She sang in a gospel group. I ended up singing in a gospel group. My dad draws. I had a great uncle who played the violin, so there was so much music and joy in the house that it's just kind of in my DNA, which then kind of translates into my work. I would like to do more dramas, but comedy seems to be where I flourish and where I shine. So I'll do whatever they put in front of me, but it's nice to be multifaceted, and just all of the different experience from living in Germany to working for Disney Cruise Lines and cruising all over the world and working with people from all over the world, that really influences what I bring to characters. So life lessons, life experiences will always lend itself into your work.
And what does it mean to you to now have this win, this big win, when you look at that 30-year career of what it took to get here?
It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. I'm surprised I haven't bursted into tears yet. Just happy tears. I feel triumphant. I am so happy right now. And there are definitely been days where I was so sad, but I'm very proud of myself for hanging in there. And you really have to surround yourself with people who are going to support you when you're at your worst and kind of help fill you and lift you up, and that are going to be able to celebrate with you when you're at your highs. So it's definitely a celebration.
All right, she is LACRETTA. You can see her in Night Court. Is available now on Peacock. LACRETTA, thank you so much for giving us some of your time today. We really appreciate you chatting with us, and thank you so much for your openness with us today as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Brandon.